Hey everybody, I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and this is our home yoga practice live on Tuesday, Feb 2. What did the groundhog do? Does anybody tell me? I'm really hoping for a little bit of a longer winter myself, but not that I actually believe that this little small mammal is going to determine whether or not we have a longer or shorter winter. Welcome to Home Yoga Practice Live. I'm Belinda. Hopefully you're joining us either on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Either way, good morning. Feel free to say hello in the chat feature. If you're new, this is my hope of this class, this virtual experience of a class, is a way of giving us some tools to access practicing at home. Not just like, okay, how do I set up a room? What kind of mat do I need? Oh, it was 6 more weeks, Claudia? Okay. All right, go Punxsutawney Phil. But how do we kind of choose maybe some themes, some things to work on? Because once we kind of have a focus, maybe it becomes a little less daunting to come and sit on our mat. I know that a lot of times people say that, starting to practice at home, they roll out their mat and they're like, well, what do I do now? Or I feel silly, or I don't know kind of poses. And in some ways, that's really easy, 1, 2, 3, ABC kind of stuff. You can get a book, you can look at some yoga poses, that kind of stuff. But staying focused on your intention and growing your practice, that might take some guidance. So, as many of you know, I say that, have a plan, set an amount of time, do the thing and observe what happens in your mind and in your body, and then always have guidance. So have a teacher, maybe there's a book that you're reading, but use that guidance to direct you. Please don't go into your yoga alone. All right, so this week, here's my thought, and it might be like a really ambitious thought. Number 1. I really do want folks to start to get into the habit of letting me know what are some things you want to work on in your practice. We might pick apart the why and the how, but it will really help me rather than you guys just experiencing Belinda in her practice. We can integrate, we can work together. But now the second part for today and for this week. We work on the body and we work on the asana. I think some of you have noticed that I've really been trying to make at least the experience through Just Be Yoga in the virtual world, maybe branch out and have people understand a little bit more of a depth of practice, and the depth of practice being more sutra philosophical. Today, I think I'm going to back off of that sutra philosophical aspect, but I do want to bring in the aspect of we are a body, breath, mind. We're not working on the body today, the breath tomorrow, the mind another time. We are a fully integrated being, and how do we start to bring that into our practice rather than, oh, I'm going to go do a workout, and I love you guys. I'm not saying anything bad. I've been in the I'm going to go and sweat, I'm going to go tone my body kind of experience, but that is still not integration. That's not yoking. Right? The yoking is bringing together a body, mind, spirit experience where they're working together and they are helping one another. So how does it feel to be in an uplifted mind? Like, oh, I really need my mind to feel more uplifted. And how do we work that in our breath and in our body so that the body feels uplifted, helping the mind feeling uplifted? How do I feel more strong and confident in my mind and bring that in elements? How does my body and my breath help me feel strong and confident? How do I feel settled and secure in body, and how does that help my breath? Okay, so today and this week, that whole integration, I'm not saying that I've even got it all worked out so much, but I know that I want to stop thinking, okay, and now we're going to sit and do a meditation, and now we're going to sit and do a breath. Instead, what I'm thinking is we're going to work on a sequence, and within that sequence, we'll bring it in mind, And then the next time through the sequence, how are we letting the breath lead the sequence? How is the breath finding rootedness, one-leggedness? How is the breath finding invertedness? And then spirit. How does the spirit feel uplifted? Let's use some of those terms I just used. Uplifted, or confident, secure, or settled. And then another time through sequence, hopefully just letting all of it work together. I'm referring to it as a slurry, right? We think of, I have point A and I have point B, and I just see myself get there. But the slurry, how are we feeling it and experiencing it? How is the spirit, how's the breath, how's the body working together to make it happen? Or at some stage, did we let go of breath? I'm definitely one of the people who can tell you, at least 45% of the time in any sequence, I have abandoned my breath. I got to reach back and go, yo, I'm sorry, come on along with me on this journey. Oh, that was my mind trying to drive the bus. Or me driving my body into the ground, and I'm dragging my body along when my body's like, I'd really like to rest. All right, so I hope some of this makes sense to you. It isn't just Belinda rambling, but today and this week, the focus will be on integration, body, breath, and spirit together, not separate, and how they all three support one another on and off the mat. What I hope is that when we depart from the mat and you're out doing your other things, that this helps us create the slurry from off the mat into our regular life, that there isn't any distinction, so that you'll catch yourself when you're moving groceries out of the car into the house, and you're aware of how your body is supporting your mind and keeping your mind on that task and not on something 2 hours from now. How when you're folding your laundry, maybe you're paying attention to whether you're leaning the body over and your back is starting to talk to you at that time, and you're creating that collaborative experience and that collaborative existence with one another, rather than I'm going to make my body do this thing and I will rest it later, as though it is something separate from us, whatever it is we identify as the me. All right, so again, I'm not trying to wax too crazy, deep, and at the same time, I'm still encouraging folks, please at least say hello, if not letting me know if there's anything that you definitely want to work on, or any thoughts that you have about what I've just said for our practice. I know that I do have some folks who are here who come rather regularly, so I hope that you have started to experience, if not over the last few weeks, over this year, over the last few years, more of that fusion, that integration of that coexistence and collaborative experience of a body, breath, spirit, not body separate, breath separate, spirit separate. All right, let us start with a sequence that is just going to be sitting. And I'm going to lengthen the legs out. You could be sitting on a rolled up blanket, so you could be elevated. Sometimes that's really comfortable on the hips, or on a block. Eyes open, door closed, whatever is more comfortable for you. And invite yourself to arrive in this space, whatever space you're in, entirely, wholly, as a physical body. Okay, my body is in this room. Maybe even just see it spatially in this room. And my spirit is in my body. Invite your breath into the room. And let it occupy this space. I love to notice, my breath was still occupying the space of talking a moment ago, which was a little bit more raised. And it's my breath is now arriving to be just wholly present in a body that's a little more calm, a little more still. And allowing my mind, my spirit to arrive in this space. Letting it stop the merry-go-round of the thoughts. And we're going to do a sequence for body. So let's feel the body. Feel the skin. I'm a big fan of giving yourself some touch. Notice what's aching. Maybe massage some bits. And sometimes touch just enlivens and invigorates the senses to wake us up a little bit more in a stimulative way so that we're just a little bit more vibrant, right? I'm a big fan of pulling some of the follicles up here. Whole body, whole body. Start to notice, are there zones of the body that I don't want to touch, that are like, right? And I'm deeply conscious. I'm in front of a camera, right? I'm like sending this out all over the interwebs. All right. I'm going to push the backs of the legs down and feel myself standing in my legs with a lot of skin surface and body surface on the floor. Feeling my spine lifting up. Feeling the muscles and the bones working together here. Flexing the toes and revolving, twisting. Breathing in and lifting. Feeling uplifted and rooting going on at the same time. Legs pressing down, feeling the action and the work of those muscles. Exhale, revolving. I'm going to take note right now of all of the physicality I can. Got a little ache in my left shoulder. I'm feeling the twist in my organs and my diaphragm. Feeling my toes are feeling a little chilly. Breathe in and calm back and exhale, calming forward. Now your hands can rest wherever you'd like them to be. Your knees could be soft. This is our first time here. How is the body accepting this level of movement? What areas of the body don't want to move right now? What areas of the body are really happy to move? What areas are fighting? What is the body telling you right now? And roll the spine up. Let's breathe in and twist. Inhale and twist. What's already changing as the body quote unquote warms up? Breath in, feel the whole body and come forward. Feel the skin of the belly compressing against the thighs. Can you feel the bones in your neck and the flesh around those bones supporting the neck? Maybe open the jaw, be aware of your tongue, your ears, and rolling the spine up. Feel your sit bones, feel the belly. Inhale, lifting, and let's revolve. How much of the rib cage are you experiencing? Can you visualize? Is it fighting? Is it wanting to be here? And come back up and revolve. Start to notice already, like, are you imposing a should on any of these spaces? That would be your mind kind of jumping in on a physical space. So maybe the body would prefer to be right here, but you started to impose, right, that like inner dominance of the mind into this space. Let's just be in the body and lift. Feel the rib cage lifting. Feel the flesh and the skin on the front of your body, so exposed, and coming forward. Feel your organs. See if you can relax the muscles in your abdomen so that you can feel your organs. How aware are you of your own organs? And bringing ourselves up. All right, now breath. So I'm going to lift. I'm not even going to involve my arms right now and see, can I ask my breath to be what's inflating my upper body up? Existing in the body purely in a breath kind of way, a breath leading. And then let the breath fill and lift. Can the body grow taller? Does it grow taller when you exhale, or does it grow taller when you inhale? And usually the inhale fills us and gives us more stability, something more structural to lift up. Use the exhale to twist. I'm just going to keep the arms lower. Hear the rhythm of your breath. Envision your breath going all the way down into your toes when you breathe in and out. Notice if the mind is already starting to say, that is not physiologically possible. My mind does that. Starting to already discount and dismiss a practice before I've even given it a shot. Feel the breath inflating and curling all the way around your spine. Be in the twist according to how the breath wants to feel. And release, coming around, breath in, sitting up. Exhale, revolving. Use the breath to grow tall and inflate. Use the exhale to give you space in the body to move. Not mind impose how much we're going to move. And back to center, breathing in, because releasing lets all that air come back into our balloon sac of a body. Exhaling it forward, pressing the air out of the balloon, rolling the spine up. Let's do that again. Inhale, kind of like one of those things you see at the street corner. And exhale. I don't know what those weird stick balloon people are called. And roll the spine up. But let's try to be one of those stick balloon people. Exhale, see it kind of coming down and deflating. And rolling the spine up as it's filling back up. One more time. Feel the skin. Let your hands touch. Good. And come on down. And then we'll bring ourselves back upright. And hold here and just notice your mind. Notice your spirit. What have you been saying to yourself of late? What has your spirit and your mind been needing? And how do you just sit here and be that way? Let your body hold you in the way that your spirit really wants to feel. I've taken a little bit of pressure out of my core. Let go a little bit in my legs. I want to be a little nicer. I want to feel looser. Uplifted in my mind. Maybe letting my mind come to something that is an uplifting idea. It's sunshine is a nice uplifting idea, so I'm just going to let that be. I loved feeling some of the sun's rays this morning. Breath in, and then exhale, revolve, holding on to the thought of whatever that uplifting thought is, and feel it in your body. Send that thought into your hips, into the twist. The spirit and the mind are moving in the body and releasing and coming around. Breath in. Exhale. What does sunshine for me feel like in my shoulders, in my chest right now? Keeping my mind on that space, coming back to center, and feeling my body lifting up according to that sunshiny feeling. Now, I do have my eyes closed myself here, but if you would like to have your eyes open, go right ahead. I find that if I can close my eyes when I'm trying to connect with spirit, it takes the distraction of the outside world away, and it lets me stay focused on what I consider is my spiritual being and coming forward. How do I keep the sunshine, uplifted feeling right here? How would it help me? Or do I come into a folded space and instantly go dark? Now I'm using the sunshine because I was sharing that as my affirmation, my visualization. And roll the spine up. All right, and now body, breath, and mind. Inhale, feel the legs pushing down, allowing the spirit to rise. Exhale, splitting it open. Can the spirit expand out of the center of the chest that's being held by the arms, by the rib cage? Breath inflates us up, every part working together. Exhale, heart, spirit open, inviting and rooted and secure. Inhale, lifting. I want to feel all of that sunshine in my shoulders, not the strain. And forward, being willing and accepting what is right here. Rolling that spine up, lifting. What can I believe I could lift from? Could I lift from deeper down, or do I only believe that my spirit resides in the upper part of my body? Exhale, revolve. Can I ground and feel solid and secure in some upper areas, or do I only rely on my legs for that? Inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale. So you can see, you can put a focus on different aspects of practice. Coming forward. Ha. Roll the spine up. I'm going to encourage us to find a way of sitting that works for you. For me, cross-legged is it. And let's just take this as a time for reflection. So I said we practice, set an amount of time, do the thing and observe. And right now we'll just use this as an observation time. Maybe journal a little bit. What do we journal? I don't understand what this person is talking about. Or, I really don't understand how to lead by spirit. Or, I really notice I'm very into a physical aspect, but I don't let my breath enter. I don't believe that my breath could go into my belly any deeper. And that's a great thing to write down and acknowledge, and that as you're developing your practice, you could say, how do I start to believe that? That could be a practice plan for another day. How do I work on believing and enabling and empowering my breath to be felt in other areas of my body? Let's come to hands and knees if you're joining. Hi, Roxy. Let me see what all three have been asking you to do again. Great. All right, so we'll come to hands and knees. And then we'll come back to this physical body. So feel the arms, the wrists, the bones. And we're here to respect. Remember, we're not here to demand or dominate. Feel the knees, ankles, toes, skin, flesh, circulatory system, nervous system. Good, and I like to see if we can find this little side to side. I know that my side body often gets ignored. Front body, back body, they get all the attention. How about the sides? Coming into an entirety of being. And then later we can explore this now. Just start to shift it as entirety of breath. Do I want to inhale into that side bend, or do I want to exhale? If the breath were driving the movement right now, how would the breath do it? And let it. Feel the bones. Now, can you start to notice what are the muscles that are actually doing this? Is it the arms? Is it the waist? Is it the belly? No, I feel like a little bit of some shoulder action is doing it. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm going to try to hold those stable and see, can the actual side, like a snake, move on its own? It does. It's a little bit more limited, but it does. It feels like, now I feel my hip a little bit. And what happens in the physical body over time? And I love that when we do stuff for a little bit more time, we get to notice states of transition, so that whatever it was we took as a truth in the beginning has changed. So does that mean that the initial truth was wrong? And then as I sit with that, I'll let that come and saturate on up into my little noggin, into my brain, because my brain thinks it knows some stuff. And so it's like, so every time I think something, is it always true the first time? Probably not. All right, and then cat and cow. So now I'm feeling the other way of moving. Just feel. Feel the tailbone, feel the belly, feel the abdomen. Don't forget your groin and your genitalia. I have had someone ask me, hey, why do you bring that up? And it's kind of self-conscious. But it's a part of us. Just as I would say, can you feel the salivation in your mouth? Can you feel the mucous membranes? It is a part of us. And we're here to be aware and connect to our entirety of being. And if we're restricted and hampered in those areas, where does it hamper us in breath? Where does it hamper our mind? Good, and find a neutral space. I'm going to twist the right arm open. Now I'm definitely feeling my right wrist is like, woo, thank you. Got to get that pressure off. I'm going to bring the right hand down and twist. I'm just going to do this now. Feel the transition of time. Notice the bones in the spine, all the way up and down the spine. I'm going to slow down now because I've been talking a lot and I realized, I wasn't giving some good mindset into, feeling my neck, the shoulder blades, the bones in between my fingers. Now let's start to have the breath drive. The breath. Oh, I didn't move nearly as much. But for me, it feels like taking a long, slow sip of a milkshake with the breath. And that's, for me, a pretty yummy sensation. And it's actually softened my experience in my body. Now, I'm not telling you that your breath needs to feel like a slow, long sip of a milkshake. But what is your breath wanting to do? Do you know when it wants to stop? And can the body and the breath work together? That the body is telling the breath is telling the body when to move. Now maybe close the eyes and let the spirit move it. And what changed? What changed? Did it become more sensual? Did it become softer? Did it become more straight and intentional lengthening? What? Where is your spirit right now? Is your spirit tired? Is your spirit inspired? What does inspiration look like or feel like here? Is your spirit confused? Can you let that manifest? And let's come down and find child's pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take note of the areas that got fatigued or tired, right? I feel a little bit of my upper arm area. Felt a little fatigued. And it's making me wonder, so was my upper arm area strong arming, literally strong arming that experience? Do I believe that I can find a softer experience? So I would like to alleviate that a little bit. So I'm going to come up, right? Because it's really telling me, hey, that's feeling a little achy. Not achy, just like, it really got worked out. And so it feels like pressure. So it wants to come out. So I'm going to twist the left arm open. And I'm going to think about that counter. And so now that's my spirit saying, yep, spirit is infinite, but the spirit right now is residing in a finite structure, a finite being. So we've got to honor and respect that finite nature. So I brought this limb under my chest. And I'm going to let the breath work with the body. Let the body gradually let go. And start to notice, is it muscles in your back that are starting to let you sink? Low back? Upper back? Neck? What's the lengthened arm doing? What's your jaw doing? Your eyes, your toes? The flesh in your tummy? Flesh in your chest? The groin, buttocks, back of the neck, top of your head. All right, now breath. Let your breath fill into the canyons and the crevices inside of your flesh. How does your breath want to be right now? What's the breath you've been craving to take? And how can your body help you find that right now? How can your breath help the body trust that it can let that breath in? How's the breath helping any area in the body that's tense right now? Or are they working opposite of one another? Now notice your spirit. Is your spirit restless? Is your spirit wanting out? Or is it the body that's wanting out? And if they're both kind of calm with one another and you can hang for a little bit and let your spirit enjoy, saturate in this peacefulness, if there is a peacefulness, what is it? What is it that your spirit is expressing or desiring? And how is the breath and the body working to help the spirit manifest that feeling? And how can you embody what is going on in your mind that you desire? Put that picture in your mind again. What is it that your spirit has been needing, and how do we start to let that occupy the body? Working together. And I'm going to ease my way up. Ooh, I definitely have a different feeling than I had before in the pressure in the front of those arms. And when you're ready, and right now I'm not, those knees are feeling like, hey, you've been on me for a minute, right? So this is a lot of acknowledgement. It doesn't mean, oh, we should do this every time. I'm listening, and my knees were feeling almost a little numb there. I didn't notice it when my body weight was on them, but now when it came up, I did. I'm going to find the other side. Now, I do believe in trying to do stuff, side to side, finding a little bit of balance, but sometimes one side wants something differently. All right, so as we come onto this side, don't try to match the other side. All right, this is just a counter. And so, however much pressure this arm had been carrying is different than the other arm had. Now we're here in a physicality, so I did some adjustments of my bones and my flesh so that they could be more at ease where they are. And let my mind scan, giving attention to the feet, the ankles, the thighs, the knees, the groin. Oh, my back is feeling pretty squishy and lengthening. Now my breath, my mind's coming to the breath because it actually felt a little limited. So I'm going to adjust my belly a little bit. Because now my breath is like, oh, you invited me to the party, so I really would like to be comfy now. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to do it your way. And find a few breaths in this position saying, we're going to do it your way, breath. Letting breath find its fullest expression of itself right here. Eyes open or closed, and let the spirit come in. Because usually once we're starting to come into breath, spirit is either like, yay, hallelujah, or it's agitated. So we're getting to come into the truth of, okay, what are we confronting? What are we fighting? Are we even comfortable with being comfortable? Or do we always need some state of discomfort? Notice your mind. What does it need right now? And how do you let it guide its way to ease? And if it's ever confused, feel out the body. Is the body at ease? Check in. If there's nothing that the body is discomforted about, check in with the breath. Is it moving freely? And then look back at the mind. And if the mind is still like running around the room, having a fit, what do you want to bring into your mind's eye? And accept where it is. It's like, okay, just like I would adjust my knees and I would adjust my hips, I'm not going to tell my mind, you sit and shut up. Nope, I'm going to be like, okay, that's all that you can take right now? All right, that was too much stillness. And come up. All right, I'm going to shift forward and back. So we did that as a bit of a sequence, okay? Shifting forward and back, physical. Tuck the toes, feel the toes. We are going to go to down dog, but I want us to start to feel out the progression, not A to B, end point destination. All right, so feeling this as a state of transition, feeling my arms being more substantial, feeling my toes and those joints in the toes. And some might say, well, why do I want to worry about that? I'm not trying to flex my toe muscles. I want six-pack abs. You're like, okay, well, go to six-pack ab class. That's cool. But those toes might be telling you something about limitation or pain or
What about expansion? Can we live in an expanded, enlightened, uplifted way in our bodies? And just feel that. Accepting that, or feel the skin, right? For me right now, it's less about the flesh. It's actually my skin's feeling a little tight in there. And yeah, my mind ran off and said, oh, I didn't put lotion on today. But, okay, had a little distracted mind, but there's a truth to, wow, okay, skin is an organ. It needs some help being flexible, right, and supple. All right, spreading the palms, tucking the toes, and then just lift the knees a little. Feel the physical body, right? And some of us need to come down right away and go, whoop, all right, I don't know what that was about. And others of us can kind of hover here, maybe put some weight forward and back. Forward and back. So remember what I said, not point A, not point B. It's the whole slurry in the middle. And feel the physical body. And then butt up, head down. Feel the physical body, right? So the joints in the palms, joints in the feet, joints in the ankles. Feel the flesh in your shins and your calves. Do you want those knees straight or do they need to be bent? Are they talking to you? What's talking to you the most? Is it in your upper body and your neck? Uplifted and free. How do we feel that way in the body as we do this check-in? And there are areas that are like, you need to shut up about that, free, and come on down. Others might be like, nope, we can fight this and we can endure and we can just do this. We can just fight our way through. And just hear that and say, okay, is that what my yoga is? And gradually, slowly feel the process of bringing the knees down, untucking the toes, and sinking back into child's pose. I like to flip the palms up and I feel a release, a little tingling in the palms. Feeling my rib cage expanding for that breath now. And we'll do that again and let the breath lead the way. So right now, just pay attention to your breath. And what is the way that the breath wants to be moving and expressing? To let the breath move the body up to hands and knees. And that can take some practice. To say, did I do it or did my breath inflate me? Going back and forth. Am I letting breath fill up each of my fingers, or am I compressing that so tight that no air could fill up those finger balloons? How about the knees and the thighs? How about the back of the neck? Are we starting to notice that the lungs might feel like they have more capacity than we thought they did? What is that? Get to know. And then I'm going to tuck, feeling the toes, breathing. Air in the toes. What does air in the toes feel like? What do I need to do physically to let more air in the toes? What do I need to do breath-wise to feel air in the toes? And then let the breath have you lift those very light knees, right? Like helium. And then hips up. The helium lifted, that breath. And then knees coming down. And then helium, breath up. And then knees coming down. Maybe one more if you've got one in you. If the physical body is saying enough, come back to your child's pose. If you're doing another, go ahead and do another. Let the breath lead the way. Experience body, experience breath. And if you have another set in you, eyes open or closed, but visualize right now, what does your spirit need? What has your spirit been asking for of late? Does it want less anxiety? Does it want to feel more secure? Does it want playfulness? What is your spirit asking for? Do you know? And that's another thing to practice in yoga. It's like, well, even if we don't know, we try one on and we play with it, right? Y'all know I'm a big fan of the playfulness one because my spirit is just like a giant kid. All right, so spirit is going to move the arms and find length in the body, respecting the limitations of the body, but finding expression of spirit in how you're moving those fingers in your arms. And then allowing ourselves to come forward with your inner self. Call it mental, I call it spirit. I think that calling it mental makes it intellectual, and we're not trying to be intellectual. Whatever is that inner identity of who you are. And sinking it back. Let your spirit move your body. Your spirit animating this body. Your spirit occupying this vessel and expressing in this vessel this back and forth. This bowing down into the earth. This acceptance and a little bit of surrender. At least that's what my spirit is saying that the shape and this movement feels like. And I'm going to tuck the toes on. I'm actually going to sink the weight back into those toes. Now, that was an interesting thing. And then letting spirit guide forward and lifting knees and hips up. And actually, right now, this is where I'm just staying. Let go of thinking and let yourself be led. And when you're led to lower, lower, and child's pose. I'm going to come forward to hands and knees. I'm going to step the left foot up. Tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg. Sink in the legs. Feel the lengthening. Feel both legs supporting us, but for the first time, really far apart. What does support feel like in this physical structure in a lengthened way? What are the hips saying? What's the skin saying? In the groin, in the joints, the long parts of the bones. Are we aware of long parts of our bones? How about the organs in the spine? Physical being. Can you feel each toe? Can you feel the arches of both feet? How about those salivary glands, mucous membranes? And let's travel around now to the right. Feel the feet spinning. Feel what's in contact, stretching, touching, pivoting, and come forward. Feel the bones in your body and the upper body hanging. Are you allowing that process to happen, or are you aware of your physical flesh clenching around bones? Is that the flesh itself, or is that spirit and mind imposing itself on your body here? Feel the toes, feel your ankles, feel the muscles in your legs, behind the knees, in front of the knees, in the belly, in the groin. You know I'm going to say it, in the genitalia. Check in right now, physical body with all five senses. So open the eyes, feel your sight. Feel spectrum of sight, color, shadow. Smell. Take a few intentional breaths where you're trying to pick up an odor. Tongue, mouth. Pick up flavor. Not try to remember a thing. Maybe just, okay, acrid, sweet, salt. I don't know. Something wet, something pungent, something not pungent, dull. Where in the mouth and the tongue? On the sides of the tongue, under it, top of it. Tongue is long, y'all. What about in between the gums? In between the tooth line and the gums? What's the difference, mouth open or closed, in what you can taste and detect? Ears. What are you hearing? Close to you. Inside of you. Maybe just chatter your teeth a little. Touch, feel, sensation. All right, we're going to walk our way around to the right. Feel the physical body accepting this movement because we held that for a moment. And I'm going to spin. Pushing that left leg back, feeling the support of the body in this lengthened way. How strong does the physical body feel in an elongated, outstretched space? How strong do we feel while being outstretched, or are we hitting our limit? And then how do we respect that limit? How much energy is going back through the left leg? What's the right leg doing? Do you even know? Are you stamping it down? How about the inner thighs? How about the shoulders and the neck? What is going on in our physicality? Is there space in your toes, in your fingers, in your mind? And let's come on back to center. Spin. Feel the heels and the toes as you're spinning. Coming forward, maybe walking those arms through, maybe not. You're all in a different body than mine. Thank goodness. You wouldn't want my back right now. My back is a little achy. And then we're going to roll the spine up. Now feel the body. Bend the knees. Feel your thighs. Feel the small of your back. Feel the weight of your arms. Feel the back of your neck as you keep your chin tucked in on a first time standing upright. So take your time. Feel the body working its way out. All of the muscles in the torso having to hold this body erect to gravity. If these muscles weren't doing anything, we would just be bloop on the floor, right? A pile of bones with a whole bunch of mushy flesh on it doing nothing, not animated, right? So here is all of this animation and action. All right, heels together. All right, so feel your bones, feel your flesh, respect, right? We're all going to have a different space here in this Buddha squat. Remember, you could have a wall, piece of furniture here, or something to hold, especially if you're feeling like your balance is a little taxed. Soften your feet. Check in. What are the feet doing? What are the knees and the shins doing? Inner thigh, outer thigh, what are they doing? Strength in expansion and length. Support. Feeling the physical body's ability to be this support right now. How long does it want to? How much energy can we put into it? So feel the belly and the core, the heat that's building. Feel the shoulders and the arms. Where do they need to be? And slowly straighten, transition. Remember, we feel the muscles, what's going on. Feel the releasing. And down. I just heard a little crack in there. And up. And down. Good. I'm going to kick the heels out, coming back forward. Lift the left toes and spin on the left heel, coming back to a lunge here, and let your breath start to guide this shape. Let your breath fill and inflate all of your toes, all of your ankles, all of your knees. Let your breath inflate your groin. Your breath is expressing this shape. Let your breath expand through the chest cavities, through your fingers. Notice any compressed space, the air can't get through it. And what's the nature of your breath? Is it seeping through like a whisper, like a sip? Is it raging through?
How does your breath need to be expressed fully and expansively here? Inside of all of that expansion of your legs. When you're ready, let your breath start to lead your way back to that forward fold, wide-legged. I've even lifted my toes and layered them back down so that that breath could come in it. And then breathing essentially upside down. Is there room in the chest in both lungs? Let your breath lead the way of how your spirit wants to feel. Let your breath work out any spaces physically that are feeling achy, that are feeling tight, tense. What is the breath that your body needs? Does it need a consoling breath? Does it need a reassuring breath? When you're ready, now we're all going to be in a different stage because doing this repetitively, right? We might be pushing the limits of the physical body. And we don't want to go beyond, but we're just asking the body and the breath and the spirit to start to work together. So what's the breath? Where does it want to go? What cracks and crevices and valleys does it want to seep into here? What cracks and crevices and valleys need the breath and that air to alleviate some tension, to blow the dust off? What areas haven't felt breath like an open window in a while? What's too much exposure of that open window? Do you need to shut it a little bit? Don't let a thought, a domineering thought, a demanding, commanding thought come into this practice. This is integrated and unified. And we'll make our way back to center. Take your time. Start to get to know the nature of your breath, your inner winds. And we'll start to bend the knees and roll the spine up. That is the breath that is starting to inflate. Starting to inflate you. And then we'll let the breath start to guide us to spin the heels inward, toes outward. How do you need to use your breath right here? Hear your breath. Express your body with your breath. And maybe for some of y'all it's right? Don't try to impose some Zen kind of make pretend breath. This is your breath, right? So if your breath is like, wah, let that out. Or let that in. Okay, now body and breath working together. Wah. Let that breath fill. Visualize it filling you. Start to notice if it feels like if it's just hyper in one area or another. Feel it all around you. Feel the outside world coming into that breath, coming into you. Feel all of the essence of you that you're delivering back out. When you're ready, kick the heels out. Coming forward. Let that breath express itself. Let your spirit express itself right here. How has your spirit needed to feel of late? Inspired, uplifted? How do you invite that here right now? What do you need to visualize? What do you need to accept? And how does that help you treat your body that way? We're just going to bring our hands down and bring the knees down and just notice
how you're actually moving in your body. What awareness have we created in a different way here already? If you can sit on the heels, go ahead. If not, go ahead and sit on your butt. Good. Tailbone under and tailbone back. No matter how you're sitting. Tailbone under, tailbone back. Good. Start to feel nuance. Get familiar and intimate with muscles in the groin and the pelvis. Feel how the abdominal wall helps. Feel it protruding out. Be okay with the abundance of your own flesh. I will bring one hand up in between the shoulder blades and bring the other hand up, finding the elbow. Now, feel the range in this shoulder joint, all of the sinews, feel the bones, feel the flesh. And for some of us, that might look like this. You might need to hold your shirt. So that elbow could be way out here. Others of us, we can help guide those fingertips straight down the spine. Try not to let the head be pushed by the arms. Feel your ribs, feel all the muscles around you holding you upright. And just notice the state. Are there muscles that are tensing and squeezing and fighting? And then just check it, test it. Do they need to be? And some might need to be engaged, but maybe not with so much rigidity or force. But you've got to start to experiment. And while you're here, a few of those tailbone rocks. What's going on in the shins? We've got a lot of body pressure on those shins if you're still in this space. Does the body feel lengthened and expanded and unimpeded? We've got the arms up, the torso's lifting. So much exposure and yet so much intention. Can we live it? Is it really hard when there's nowhere to hide to maintain that focus and that intention, that directed energy? Good. Release. And other side. Oh, this side is like, oh yeah, how about you relax? I'm like, okay. For the sake of time here, let's bring the attention to breath. Can the breath express itself? Can you let the breath fill you and expand you from the inside out? Is there more room for more breath here? How much room does your breath want? When we say we need a breath, what does that mean in an embodied sense? Where do you need it right now? What body area is asking for it? What body area is fighting it? It wants it, but is fighting it. What body area is accepting it, and can we just love up on that? Don't just hyper-focus on the areas that need attention. Let's love up on the areas that are lovey, lovey, yummy. And release. I'm going to come out of those knees. And sometimes just the releasing feeling, I like to think it's like, oh, spirit's entering there. All of that invigorated feeling is like, oh, now there's more room for my sensual awareness, my enlightened awareness of a truth of, oh, that was compression and that's the release of compression. And it's still going on. Like my legs and my feet are definitely feeling that. All right. So today has been a day where we've looked at ways to use some tools to integrate body, breath, and mind. Yoga means yoking or unification.
The last limb of yoga, samadhi, means unification, right? So even though the first 7 limbs detail out ways of acting in the outside world with one another, ways of acting within ourselves, ways of moving within the body, ways of being in our breath, ways of being in our senses, ways to focus the mind, ways to meditate and sit in quietude in the mind, that integration is doing them all. And recognizing that they're not separate from one another. And hopefully as you start to practice some of this, you'll notice my tense mind created a tension over here in my body. My tense breath created a tension in this finger. Or my whole nervous system is carrying the tension of my mind that I've been holding for the last however many days or months or years or whatever. And so we're hoping that in that integration, we can start to use those integration tools to create ease. But ease isn't instantaneous, nor is any of this expansion and lengthening and health, right? That embodied healthiness. Nothing is instantaneous. And so there's a lot that we get to feel along the way. And we get to observe our aversion to wanting to actually feel, right? We got a picture of this nirvana as though we never get to work for it. Yeah, guess what? We got to peel a whole bunch of Band-Aids off of some stuff and feel some skin and some hairs be pulled up with it. And then we return again with some authenticity and some love, and ask the breath and ask the mind and ask the body to work together, not separately. So I hope that this helps as you start to develop your practice at home. It doesn't have to be an hour. Maybe just do 2 or 3 things that we did here today, and take it with you when you're folding your laundry, and notice, where is my mind? Where's my spirit right now? Am I carrying my body the way my spirit wants to carry the body, or the body needs to be carried? When you start to notice, maybe you'll start to lean in weird directions for less time. Maybe you'll trip fewer times, out on a sidewalk, because you're so aware of where you are in your body. Maybe you'll be a little less reactive to some nonsensical gibberish that someone says, because you recognize that that is outside of you and not inside of you, and it doesn't need to disturb your ripple. All right, I tried not to go deep, and I feel like I just went there a little bit. So I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and this has been our home yoga practice on Tuesday, Feb 2, Groundhog Day. Whatever it is that you were hoping for, I hope that, on the outside world, that it will not affect your inside world, and that you come to your mat and return again to explore how your spirit and your body and your breath are working together to manifest your purpose. And may it help you do something so simple as do the dishes, wash the laundry, unpack the groceries out of the car, or stand in line somewhere and not be reactive. All right, everyone. Remember, please send me your ideas, things you want to work on, whether it's a breath practice, whether it's a body area, so that we're making this something that we're all collaborating and integrating and unified, not top down. Okay, I've been really feeling like a little bit of this top down kind of stuff. So thank you all so much for joining. Great to have you, Rox. Great to have you, Claudia and Joe. Puma came for half a second and then she disappeared. I will stick around for a little minute in case anybody does have any questions or want to chat a little bit about practice. I know today was a little bit different, right? It wasn't like a flow, but at the same time we did work certain sequences. And how did that work for you, right? Was some of that like, meh, that doesn't work for me? Or do you end up with questions about breath? And breath can be one of those elements that we're like, I don't know. Do I feel it in my belly? Do I feel it in my toes? Yeah, well, great. Thank you, Claudia. I'm always trying my best to try to find ways to bring the concepts of what is this yoga thing that we're doing. And you know I love me some rip and run. We can do some Empower rip and run, but there's so much that we miss, right? That's that drive-by yoga, and so I'm trying to help us find that integration. I think I'm also really starting to show my age, right? Because I'm like, I think I want to slow down in this hip. At least some of my hip joints are going, Linda, you think you're 30-something, don't you? And so some of those truths, some of those realities of truth transforming, right? And it really it's a wonderful experience to be in this human aging body. Alrighty. Well, good to see you, Claudia. Roxy, you got anything? Anything you want? Any questions on? Anything feel really good for you today? Anything you want to talk a little bit more about? When we started home yoga practice last year, Mondays, Tuesdays had really been more of that kind of workshopy sit and chitty chat time. So we've got that time. More breath practice. Okay, we can do that. Yeah. I'll just leave that at that. We can do that. Lately, I've really only been sticking primarily with abdominal breath. Maybe Brahmari. I think we did Brahmari last week, which was that humming breath. I want to stay away from really forceful breaths until people have a different level of practice. But yes, integrated body breath. Inhale, this expands. Exhale, this comes in. How do we feel when we're trying to expand in breath? Sorry, that's annoying me. How do we feel when we want to expand in breath in a confined place? Do we believe in that limitation, or can we let that expansion still happen? Yeah. Well, good stuff. Thank you all so much. I'm deeply honored to be able to share practice with you all. You all keep me practicing, and so I hope that I'm helping you find ways of practice and expression of you. The focused breath, yes. Okay. Wonderful. Well, wonderful, rocks. Be good to your bodies. Be good to your spirits, everyone. Share our stuff if you're so inclined. Drop in a donation if you're so inclined. And I hope to see you all soon. Go forth and do great things.